Welcome, I am Tolga. I am a computer engineer and a veteran software dev. After spending years as a lead programmer in game studios, I've decided to share everything I've learned here on this channel. If you are also a solo game developer dreaming of creating your own game, just like me and my subscribers, then you are in the right place. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be first to know when I make a new video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use AI tools the right way in game development. Despite some ads might make you believe AI still can't build a complete game with just a click. But if you know how to use these tools, they can save you tons of time so you build your demo faster. So you can pitch your game to publishers, or you may continue as an AI-assisted independent game dev. For those who want to dive deeper, I've prepared a completely free AI game development starter kit. Inside the kit, you'll find practical examples and ready-to-use prompts showing you how to create 3D models, gameplay code, sound effects, music, voiceover, icons, UISS, and even marketing materials using AI. It's designed to help you experiment with many of the tools you will see throughout this video and quickly improve your skills. You can download it for free using the link in the description or pinned the comment below. Let's get started. One of the biggest goals in game development is reaching as many players as possible while making sure your game runs well, even on low-end hardware. To achieve that, you need the right AI tools and, more importantly, the right workflow. Building a game isn't about using a single AI tool. You will get much better results by combining several tools, each specialized in a different area. The main categories we will cover today are story and game design, concept art, 3D models and 2D artwork, user interface design, voice generation, music creation, and programming. So let's take a closer look at each of them. Let's start with story and game design. My advice isn't to ask AI, write an entire game story for me. Instead, if you already have a rough idea, explain it to the AI and ask for feedback. It can help you improve your concept, suggest new mechanics, and even tell you whether your game's genre and core gameplay fit today's market trend. Of course, AI doesn't always understand the market perfectly, but since these models are trained on a huge amount of publicly available information from across the internet, their suggestions often reflect what the average player might think. That's why they can be surprisingly useful when you are shaping your ideas. AI is also great at turning scattered notes into a well-organized game design document or GDD. Whether you need a short outline or a detailed design document, modern AI chatbots can save you a tremendous amount of time. Now let's move on to the concept art, where AI becomes even more interesting. Today, several AI chatbots can generate high-quality concept artwork simply from a text prompt. Right now, both ChatGPT and Google Gemini are very capable image generators. However, after the latest updates, personally, I think ChatGPT has taken the lead. Let me show you how I used it while developing my own game. My game Vengeance Knight is a co-op detective and beat-em-up game set in Istanbul during the 1980s. I wanted to create a safe house where the characters could relax, recover, and continue their investigation between missions. I described that idea to ChatGPT and this was the concept image it generated. Later, I combined my own 3D models with a few AI-assisted assets and some ready-made models to recreate that concept inside the actual game. Here is what the final result looks like. I also asked ChatGPT to generate the concept for the game's main menu. This is the image it created, and after adding my own rain effects and a few atmospheric details, this became the final version you see in the game. That's why I highly recommend using AI for concept art. These images never appear directly in the final game, so they don't have to be perfect. Their real value is helping you visualize ideas quickly and giving direction to the rest of your project. And the best part is that most AI image generators offer a free tier, so you can start experimenting without spending any money. Now let's talk about 3D models. Today there are several AI tools you can use, including Tripo, Meshy, and many others. I'll compare them in a separate video in the future. For this video, however, I'll focus only on Meshy.ai. This isn't a sponsored video. I simply use Meshy more than the others, so I'm sharing my own experience. Meshy lets you generate a 3D model either from a text prompt or from a reference image. Personally, I've had much better results by first creating the image I wanted with ChatGPT and then using that image as the reference inside Meshy. Right now, I believe ChatGPT is much better at visualizing your ideas than any other current 3D generation system. So instead of talking about it, let's take a look at a few real examples. In my experience, Meshy performs best when creating characters. For example, I used this concept image from my own game as a reference, and the generated model was actually quite impressive. The generated mesh was very detailed, but both Meshy and the free software Blender let you reduce the polygon count while keeping the overall silhouette intact. Personally, I think Blender's Decimate modifier does a better job than Meshy's built-in mesh simplification. After that comes texturing. Overall, Meshy does a decent job here, although you may occasionally see small texture artifacts, especially around hands or accessories after reducing the polygon count. Meshy also includes a texture repair feature, but honestly I haven't found it very useful. Finally, Meshy can automatically rig your characters. I wasn't particularly impressed with either the auto-rigging or the generated animation. Fortunately, there's another excellent free tool called Mixamo that solves this problem. If you ask ChatGPT to generate your characters in a T-pose form from the beginning, exporting it to Mixamo usually works better and produces cleaner animation results. And if you have discovered any useful tricks or workflows of your own, feel free to share them in the comments below. My final thoughts on Meshy are fairly simple. It performs very well on creating characters, animals and other organic shapes, but it is less convincing with the more complex hard surface models. That said, it's still perfectly capable of generating buildings, rock formations, cliffs, and similar assets. Finally, don't forget that models generated by tools like Meshy can be cleaned up, further using automatic retopology tools, making them much more suitable for use in a real game project. When it comes to 2D graphics, the situation is a bit different. After testing many AI image generators, I still haven't found one that can consistently produce artwork that looks as if it was created entirely by a professional artist. That said, for creating individual images, ChatGPT and Google Gemini both deliver surprisingly good results. I also spent quite a bit of time using Midjourney. However, I often felt that it didn't fully understand my prompts. Instead, it seems to pick out a few keywords and generate something only loosely related to what I actually wanted. To be fair, I haven't used Midjourney for quite a while, so if it has improved recently, let me know in the comments. Creating game UI is another challenge. I haven't found any AI tool that can generate production-ready interfaces within a single. However, at the time I recorded this video, I found ChatGPT's image generator to be the closest one. In my opinion, it produced noticeably better UI concept than Gemini. It probably won't generate the exact interface you want on the first try, but with a little Photoshop editing, you can turn those concepts into something that looks surprisingly good. For example, here are a few UI concepts that ChatGPT created for my own game, Vengeance Knight. Let's move on to voice generation. Today, there are plenty of AI tools that can help with voice acting. Some convert text into speech while others can clone or transform your own voice into a completely different character. While developing Vengeance Knight, I tested several platforms, including Revoicer, MiniMax Audio, and Elevenlabs. In the end, Elevenlabs gave me the best results, so that's the one I decided to use. Let me show you an example from my own game. Vengeance Knight features 3 main characters along with many enemy characters that have spoken dialogue. I personally recorded every single line using my own microphone. Then I uploaded those recordings to Elevenlabs, selected a voice I liked, and generated the final performance. For example, I recorded this line: "Beat it Murat, walk away now or you will get hurt." After uploading both the Turkish version and its English translation to Elevenlabs, I clicked generate, waited a few moments, and here are the results.
Edebinle uza Murat, yoksa karışmayız. Beat it Murat, walk away now so you don't get hurt.
I created many other voices like the following.
You know all those bodies washing up on Fisherman's Beach sahiline vuran cesetlerin hepsi eski torba.
Umarım size ulaşır. Bunlar o kadar kötü.
Where the hell have you been? I've been very sick for days.
Access always brought reliable information. I have no...
There's no way the gentleman would overlook the opportunity to make...
When it comes to music generation, there are plenty of good AI tools available. Personally, I choose Udio. Since most of these platforms work in a very similar way, I'll use Udio as today's example. This is Udio's interface. You simply write a prompt describing the style, mood, or purpose of the music you want, and Udio generates 2 different 30-second versions for you. Each result costs 1 credit, so every prompt uses 2 credits. At the time of recording, Udio offers 100 free credits that refresh daily. Once you find a version you like, you can either continue generating the next 30-second section or create an ending for your track. In other words, you build music piece by piece until it's exactly the way that you want it. I'll cover Udio and AI music generation in much more detail in a future video. Once it's ready, you'll find the link in the card above and in the description below. And if you'd like to be notified when it's published, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Now we've reached the part that most of you have probably been waiting for, coding. Today there are several different ways to use AI while programming games. The most common approach is simply asking an AI chatbot to write a specific gameplay mechanic or solve a particular programming task. then integrating that code into your project. I've already made several videos demonstrating this workflow, and we've even built complete games from scratch during live events using AI assistants. If you are interested, you'll find those videos here on the channel. Another popular approach is using AI assistants that integrate directly in your development environment. These tools can analyze your entire project and modify your code automatically using token-based AI models. Each workflow has its own strengths and weaknesses. More recently, however, we've started to see a completely new approach. Thanks to a protocol called MCP, AI can now interact directly with your game engine instead of only your code editor. I'll be making a dedicated video about Unity AI very soon, where I'll explain MCP in much greater detail. If you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Personally, I use AI to write certain parts of my code and save a significant amount of development time. However, just as I've said in previous videos, I still don't recommend treating AI as a programmer that replaces you completely. Designing your architecture properly and making sure everything works together reliably is still your responsibility as the developer. In my opinion, AI should be treated as a productivity tool, not as a replacement for your own engineering decisions. For standard programming tasks, AI performs remarkably well. Common gameplay mechanics, character movement, inventory systems, UI logic, and many other well-known patterns are areas where these models have been trained on enormous amounts of code. I have no problem letting AI handle those kinds of repetitive tasks. Where things become more challenging is when your project starts doing something unusual or highly original. In those situations, I've found that it's much more effective to break the problem into smaller pieces and let AI solve one step at a time. And finally, don't ever feel guilty about using AI in your workflow. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced programmer, AI is simply another professional tool just like your IDE, your modeling software, or your game engine. It's there to help you work faster, not to replace your creativity or your expertise. Before we wrap up, I'd like to remind you that you can download my free AI game development starter kit using the link below. I highly recommend checking it out if you are serious about building games with AI. If you have been thinking about creating your own game and starting a new chapter in your life, there has never been a better time to begin. Thanks to modern AI tools, affordable game assets, and easier access to knowledge than ever before, game development has become more accessible than it's ever been. And remember, your game doesn't have to be finished before you start looking for funding. A strong prototype or demo can already open many doors. If you'd like to learn how to secure funding for your own game using nothing more than a playable demo, then my next video is exactly for you.